Hello, and welcome back to yet another episode of my podcast. This week, I thought we'll talk about interview tips that will help you crack the interview and get your dream job. If you're here for the first time, I'm your host, Rajive Dhavan. And before we deep dive into the episode, let me request you to hit that follow button or the subscribe button, depending on the platform you're listening on. Without any further ado, let's kickstart this podcast episode. It's time to have a word with me, Rajive Dhawan. See you on the other side of the intro music. Did you know on average 120 people apply for a single job? Recruiters form an opinion and pretty much decide to take you on board or not in the first 90 seconds of an interview. And only 6 to 8% of the people who apply for a job make it to the first round of an interview. Now, those are some statistics that will help you understand why it's so important to crack an interview. As a founder of multiple businesses with over 18 years of experience, I have taken quite a few interviews. So I thought I'll put together a list of some of the best practices for you to crack that next interview and land your dream job. The first one on the list is prepare but don't overdo it. We all have this habit to prepare for the interview, and it's a great practice as well, but a lot of us overdo it. What's more important, however, is to understand what exactly is your natural style. Are you somebody who performs well when you prepare a lot, or are you somebody who gets overly nervous when you prepare a lot? And based on that, you need to take a call about how much preparation you should do before an interview. So don't blindly over-prepare just because other people are doing it. The next tip is to be punctual, to be on time. No employer in this world would want to hire someone who's not on time, who's not dependable, who's not punctual. So if you're late for an interview, you'll pretty much not get the job. You can be sure about that fact. However, what you can do alternatively is, if you're getting delayed for some reason and if that reason is genuine and valid, then do inform the interviewer well in advance. That'll at least give you some saving grace. Smile and make an eye contact. That is the next best practice. We all know about smiling and making an eye contact, but we do not use it as much as we should be. You need to understand that when you smile, you're giving out a very positive vibe and a positive energy, and that is something that the interviewer feels immediately. It's a way for them to connect with you beyond the conversation that you're having. And a consistent eye contact with the interviewer is another great practice. This will help you communicate that you're confident and you are genuine as a person. Those who do not maintain an eye contact with the interviewer or with a person on the other side might come across as unauthentic. The next one is to know the name of the interviewer and the pronunciation of their name correctly. In case you do not know or you're unsure, it's absolutely okay to ask the interviewer what's the right pronunciation of their name. And interviewers hate when somebody mispronounces their name. Next, ask a couple of intelligent questions. Most interviewers will give you an opportunity to ask questions. And even if they don't, it's absolutely okay for you to ask them. But those should be intelligent questions. Remember that an interviewer is interviewing multiple people, and when you ask intelligent questions, you'll be able to grab some real estate in the minds of the interviewer and they'll remember you as a candidate. It also helps you in communicating that you're somebody who's invested in the interview process, who is invested in the job, and who wants to know more about various aspects of the job, the company, etc. And that's because if you're not bothered about the interview, about the job, about your role and all those other aspects, you're very less likely to be actually bothered about the company and contribute to its growth. That is the mindset of the interviewer. The next one is something that we all face. It's about being nervous for an interview. And some of us are so nervous during an interview that we completely miscommunicate a lot of stuff. But you need to understand that being nervous is a part and parcel of the game. You don't need to be embarrassed because you're nervous. What you can do instead is you can actually be open about it. You can just tell the interviewer on the other side that, I'm a little nervous, and own it up. This will also help you get that big load off your shoulders, off your chest, and you'll be able to better focus during the interview process. Let me also tell you that what most of us do not realize is that the interviewer is also human, and there are a lot of interviewers who are also equally nervous during an interview process. So calm down, relax, and go for the bullseye. The next one is to tell the truth during an interview process. We all know that interviews can be tough. They are designed to be tough because unless the interviewer puts you in a situation which is difficult, they will not be able to really gauge or understand how you perform under pressure. So during this high pressure conversation, during this high pressure process of an interview, we end up saying stuff that's untrue. But most interviewers are seasoned professionals. They can easily differentiate between the truth and something that's just plain crap. So don't lie during an interview process. If there's something that you don't know, it's fine. You can own it, accept it, and make a statement with conviction that you're willing to learn it. Remember, a lie during an interview will never let you live in peace. It will always keep coming back to haunt you. So my friend, during an interview process, just don't lie. One of the other biggest mistakes that we make is that we are in a rush to answer the interviewer. We are in a rush to give a reply. And in this process, when topped with nervousness, we don't listen carefully. So do not frame any sentences or answers in your mind while the interviewer is asking you a question. If it's a complicated question, let them finish the question and then wait. Frame your sentences or answers and then reply. The next one is an area where I've come across a lot of people who crib about their former employers. And let me tell you, that could be the single most damaging thing for you. You joined a company, you worked with them for a few months, for a few years, or even a decade. Things were great, things were bad, you had issues because there is no perfect company in this world. But when you go to an interview and you talk negatively about your previous company, you will come across as somebody who's not a problem solver. All said and done, your previous company gave you an employment, an opportunity, they gave you the money, they did whatever best they could for you in their limited capacity. When you go for an interview and talk negatively about your previous company, you will come across as disloyal as well. That's an impression you should refrain from creating. The other mistake that a lot of candidates make is that they give very generic answers. They just beat around the bush, they give some stories with no data and no facts and no supporting statements. What you can do instead is follow the STAR approach. STAR is an acronym that stands for Situation, Task, Action, Result. So when an interviewer asks you about a specific project, just tell them what the situation was, what were the tasks that you had put together, also the action that you took which led to certain results. Finally, a bonus tip. Close the interview on a positive and an enthusiastic note. While most interviewers make notes, it's not always possible to remember everything about a candidate. So we are most likely to remember the last few minutes of an interview. And when those few minutes are positive and full of enthusiasm, where somebody is excited to join the company, not overexcited though, that will be a great closing note. With this, we come to the end of this week's episode. I hope you liked this piece of content. If you did, please share. I'm sure you will positively impact someone. Thank you.